So hey guys, welcome back to another JET application vlog. This time I'll try to cover the actual application form, try to get into a little bit of that there. I mean, I won't run through the whole thing because it's a little long and some parts are pretty obvious. Like, I'm pretty sure some of us should know our names and what gender we are to check that off on the list, so that should be fine. I actually got my chair and desk from Nitori delivered finally. Nitori is basically like Japan's IKEA, so you can get a lot of furniture and household stuff there for relatively cheap, and it's pretty nice. So I'm really happy I got these so I can be more productive with some of the work stuff I do, and it's just more comfortable than sitting in the chair at my dining table or whatever. But anyways, getting into it, I have this checklist and stuff up here in front of me on my computer. So just to note once more, some of the information I give will be a bit more tailored towards Jamaicans. The application form itself, I strongly believe, is the same across countries, but there are certain aspects that will only be for Jamaicans. For example, right here, one of the first things they say on the checklist for Jamaicans is Jamaicans can only apply for the ALT position. So for those of you who maybe want to be CIRs or SEAs in Jamaica, sorry, you can only apply as an ALT, but people from other countries, they have their own rules, so some people can apply for CIRs and so on and so forth. So note specifically the deadline for your respective countries. In Jamaica, the deadline is November 7th at 2 p.m. November 7th at 2 p.m. So get it in before that date, and it's better to be early than close or on time. So the earlier you hand it in, you'll be able to make a better impression. One of the things they really try to enforce is not to staple your documents when you're doing it. So when you're finished, don't staple your documents together. Instead, use paper clips to hold it together, because when you staple it, it makes life harder for them. And I think there have been some situations where some people, like, they handed in stapled documents and it just gets like tossed aside. So don't do that. Don't staple your documents together. Pay close attention to the chart sheet that gives like your interview location code and your country code and stuff like that, because you need it for the application form when you're filling it in. I'll put links below for the chart form, which can be used by anyone. It's not specifically for Jamaicans, so anyone can use it. I'll put a link to the application form for Jamaicans, because we have to actually print it out and fill it in. They actually, this year, they actually ask if it's possible for us to type it in, then you can. But I think the only way that you'd be able to type in the form is if you have like the professional version of Adobe Reader, so you can create a form from the PDF file and then actually type in the information. Or if you feel very idle, throw it in Photoshop or Illustrator and then type in the information in each block, which is maybe more time consuming than just printing it out and filling it in block letters, neatly written letters, because we don't want them to confuse a lot of the information. Anyways, moving along, another part of your application will be to have 3 sealed transcripts from your school. So one will be the original, and there'll be 2 copies. If you want to, you can get 3 original copies and give them all of them. But it's a lot easier for you if you get 1 original and make 2 copies as well from the university. For Jamaica specifically, we were allowed to get the original from the school and then open it, because normally when you order a transcript from the school, it's in a sealed envelope, I believe. And then we were able to open it and photocopy it. Some places, I know that some places, like especially if you apply to work somewhere, they normally maybe don't allow you to open the envelope, because once they see the seal is broken, then it's considered invalid. But in Jamaica, we were allowed to open it and make copies of the transcript. I believe this is still the case, but if you want to double check, feel free to email. And if you want to know what it's like for your specific country, please feel free to email your Japanese consulate and ask them what is acceptable for you. So you need to get that from your university, and they specifically state that student copies will not be accepted unless it's stamped by the institution's registry. Because you know, sometimes you can go and just get this small quick student copy that you can use just to show people that, okay, I did these subjects, I got these grades during this time. That will not be accepted unless it's stamped by the registry at your institution. Next, degree. So you know, normally they ask for 1 original and copies. With your degree specifically, or teaching diploma, they will accept 3 copies. So you don't need to send them your actual degree, because you know, you maybe wouldn't get that back. So you don't need to send them your actual degree. All you need to do is make 3 copies of your original degree, and then get the copies signed, stamped, sealed by a justice of the peace or the registrar at your university, or something, like somebody to certify that this is authentic, this is your an actual copy of your actual degree. So it will be done by your university or college, the registrar, or a justice of the peace, for them to just stamp and approve and be like, yes, this person is not giving you some falsified documents to show that they graduated when they actually didn't. Oh, and they say here specifically that you must have the proof of graduation, which is your diploma or degree, sent to them with your application. So it must go in with your application. For people who are not graduating until 2015, I mentioned this earlier because you can still apply if you're graduating next year before you get sent on JET. For people who have not yet obtained their degree, you must submit a status letter from your school, a status letter that shows your expected date of graduation. So they basically just want proof that yes, you are going to graduate next year before you need to get sent on the JET program, so that they can get proof that, okay, you did graduate, you fulfill a requirement of having an undergraduate degree or a teaching diploma. So that's all fine and good. You also must have 2 letters of recommendation or reference letters. So you know, the 2 reference letters, you still have the 1 original and 2 copies from each. So you have 2 people who are writing reference letters for you, and from each of them you have the original, and you make 2 copies of that original. So you'll have 6 total. The 2 originals, 4 copies, 2 copies of each original. And they say here that if you are still in school, if you have not yet graduated, one of your referees must be someone related to the university. They must be related to the university, and their reference letter must contain the expected date of graduation as well. So they'll say that, okay, this person is, you know, Jane Smith, and she's expected to graduate at this time, and she's like this kind of student, she has this kind of interest, stuff like that. For me specifically, I had already graduated, so I got my reference letter from my supervisor at a company that I used to work for back in Jamaica, and the other one I got from my Japanese instructor who was in Japan when I was in Osaka. I got one from her, and I got one from my supervisor that I worked for. So yeah, that was me. So pay attention to that specifically. Make close attention. The reference letters are pretty important as well, so make sure you get someone you really trust to write them, and also try to get them done early, because sometimes you can ask someone for a reference letter and they take a while to do it. So try not to procrastinate with getting those reference letters, because they're really important. Yeah, those are the main requirements for the application. And now thinking about it, if I try to get into the actual form, it might get a little too long for this vlog. So what I will do, I will create another vlog episode thing that gets into the actual form itself soon. It shouldn't be too bad. A lot of it is pretty straightforward if you just follow the guidelines and everything. But yeah, I'll get into that another vlog episode. So please, if there are any questions that you may have, anything you want me to speak about specifically pertaining to the application form, your statement of purpose, or just the application process in general, feel free to leave some comments below. If you want, you can maybe PM me, just ask me stuff, give me some direction as well, because a lot of it I'm just talking off the top of my head, and if I have actual questions, specific questions to answer, it'll be a lot easier for me to, you know, get that directed flow rather than me just rambling and vomiting out all this random information. So yeah, that's it for now. I will try to get the next one up as soon as I can, and you take care, guys. See you around.